Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales The Lost Stories, a YouTube channel where you'll find stories and fanfictions all in the first person point of view, written and read to you by your host, me, Tiger. Today we're diving back into the Marvel and DC fanfiction universe, a place where I have in story put the Marvel and DC universe and I've sandwiched them together into one ongoing universe. The event was called Union Day, where we lost some heroes went missing, and from then on, multiple stories continued. Now, this story is the streets of Brooklyn. 4 wannabe gangsters ends up in a turf war with another gangster group after a train went off the rails. Literally. And in the last chapter, the 4 members of our story found a box that was on the train. Inside the box was 4 items that used to belong to either superheroes or supervillains. Now, let's dive in. The Streets of Brooklyn, Chapter 2. New Equipment. Suddenly, a gunshot echoed throughout the street. We looked around and saw someone with a pistol. It was one of the Painkiller members. A police officer laid on the ground. Then other Painkiller members started pulling out their guns and started firing. "Dude, we're fucked. We don't have our guns," Lanzo huffed. "No, but we have these," Hattie said with a small grin. "Okay, fine. Grab something and we'll deal with these jackasses, but we're returning them after," I ordered. "I agree. These things look rather dangerous," Kalani told me. Everyone reached into the box and grabbed something. We all then ran into the middle of the chaos, and the Painkiller aimed their guns from the police officers and turned their guns to us. "Time to be a hero, I guess," I muttered. We all stood there back to back, ready to deal with the Painkiller gang. Kalani had the heat gun, which we all knew came from Heatwave, the one and only criminal partner to Captain Cold. She aimed it like a pistol, and I could see it wobbling in her hand. Hattie had the golden rope, the lasso truth, once used by the legendary Amazonian warrior Wonder Woman. She gripped it tight, but it sure looked odd in her hands, and she looked unsure. Lanzo had the Fistigons, armoured gloves made by the Steins and used by their son when he joined the Runaways. And I had an arc shield, a vibranium shield like Captain America's with an arc reactor built into the centre, an invention made by Tony Stark. We were way over our heads, you know that, right? I muttered. The Painkillers started firing their guns. I held up my shield, and the bullets bounced off of it like it was nothing. It wasn't the first time I was shot at, but definitely the first time I managed to block several shooters at once. Kalani pulled the trigger, and a stream of flames ripped through the street. The Painkillers thugs all ducked for cover. One thug had the courage to step forward and aim his pistol, but Hattie lashed out the lasso which wrapped around the thug's hand and pistol. Hattie pulled the lasso, pulling the thug off his feet. Lanzo looked confused, but he threw his fists out and the Fistigons released a concussion blast that exploded from the gloves and hit several thugs, throwing them off their feet. I slammed my hand on the strap of the shield and the arc reactor shot a repulsor beam which shredded the ground, then up through several cars, then hit one of the thugs. "We have to spread out," Lanzo barked. We all nodded, and I ran off down the south street, and I threw the shield. It bounced off the street lamp and hit a thug in the head, knocking him out. But then it flew back at me, and I caught it. "Whoa! Okay, how am I doing this?" I asked myself. I then saw 2 thugs taking their chance to rob a jewelry store. At the same time, all of this drama was going on. I ran up to them. One clocked me and swung his baseball bat at me. I raised the shield and took the hit. The shield vibrated due to the impact, but my arm stayed stable. I then swung my arm, hitting the thug with the shield. Then I saw the second thug running away. I pulled the shield off my arm and threw it again, but I missed and it got stuck in a window. I sighed hard and jogged over to the shield. I placed my foot on the wall, grabbed the shield, and with all my might I pulled it out of the window, the glass shattering as I did. My emotional victory high suddenly plummeted to the ground as I realised that we were way over our heads. This was a shield made by the late Iron Man, made with arc technology inside of a vibranium shield, and it was in the hands of a young guy from Brooklyn. I was way over my head. I chased down the guy who ran away. I jumped forward and rammed the shield into the thug, and we both crashed to the ground. I climbed to my knees, swung the shield, hitting the guy in the face, knocking him out. I ran back to the train crash site and saw Kalani spraying flames at the thugs, and Lanzo came running down, blasting the Painkillers away with concussion blasts as we all grouped up. "Are you guys okay?" Lanzo asked. "Yeah, I'm okay," I muttered. "Anyone else feel like shouldn't be here?" Kalani asked awkwardly. "Yeah, kinda," Lanza nodded. Wait, where is Hattie? I asked. We all looked around, but she was nowhere to be seen. Lonzo pointed down the main road. Hey, what about down there? He barked. We all ran down the road, running past the dead and injured and the first responders. Then we found Hattie. She had the lasso of truth wrapped around a painkiller member, and it was wrapped around his neck. Why are you attacking? She growled. We got information about the cargo, and that the train would crash, so we could snag it. But when we got here, there was too much going on, so our leader pulled his gun out. We just followed suit. I promise, that's it, the thug unwillingly admitted. There are kids and elderly here, you fool, Hattie snapped. She pulled the lasso harder, making the criminal choke. Oi, Hattie, let him go, I piped up. Why? So he can get out all of the secrets. We can literally get him to spill everything, Hattie grinned. Yeah, but we don't torture people. We bust their asses, and we do it with bullets, knives, and our bloody fists. Not like this, I barked. Hattie frowned, but realised that I had a point. Then she released the criminal, and he got up and ran away. Come on, let's go help out, Lonzo suggested. We ran back to the crate and hid the weapons inside. We then hid the crate well and helped out the civilians of Brooklyn. The day dragged into the night, and it was eventually time to head home. We all decided to take the crate back to the hideout. Luckily, the rest of the gang wasn't there. We placed the crate down and we opened it, and once again we all stared down into it. The gloves, the lasso, the shield, and the heat gun all sat there in a pile of straw. So we're gonna give these back, right? Lonzo asked. Why? We can use them. We can get a hand over the painkillers and the other gangs that threaten us, Hattie suggested. But we could also use them for good, Kalani butted in. I took a deep breath and I exhaled long and slow as I thought about it. Okay, the cops don't know about the hideout, so keep it here for now. We lock it and make sure no one else touches them. And no matter what, no one uses them except for us, and only when we need to. Do we agree? I asked. One by one, they all nodded at me. We then closed the crate up and Lonzo found a lock and we locked it up tight. Lonzo handed me the key. I nodded and kept the key in my pocket. Then we all started talking about the painkillers, the fact that today they took a big loss. They might find a way to retaliate, and they had the issue of the painkillers having an outside source feeding them information. Important information, like the dangerous weapons being put on the train. We also delved into the likes of our fight and how awesome it was, but at the same time how scary it was wielding these items. We chatted for a few hours, into the early hours of the morning. We all left the hideout. The night sky was clear, but there was a chilling breeze. We carried on walking, and we walked until we had to go our separate ways. We keep this quiet for now, Hattie stated. Agreed, I nodded. Then suddenly, some bright light exploded in the sky. We all looked up and saw portals, multiple portals, opening all across the sky. Then suddenly the grey beings came raining out of the portals, and at the time we didn't know it, but the putty invasion had begun. If you want to hear more Marvel and DC storylines within this fan-fictional universe, then check out the playlist created on this channel. Also, go check out Tiger Tales, where you'll find more storylines within this universe, Marvel and DC related. It has its own playlist for you guys to delve in so you can catch up. On with the outro. This story is a part of Tiger Tales. You can find Tiger Tales on YouTube, and it's branching off channels. There's Tiger Tales, Tiger Tales The Lost Stories, Tiger Tales Game Over, Tiger Tales Mysterious Origins, and Tiger Tales X. All of these channels hosts stories, fan fictions, crossovers, and original tales just like this one. So make sure you go check those channels out. This story is also presented to you by the Three Ranger Bros, which is built by Cosmic Dude 637, Mark the Red Cornish Ranger, and myself, Ty Tiger. The voice actors in this story are actually the Three Ranger Bros themselves. Willie and Mark playing Willie and Mark, aka Cosmic 267 and Mark the Red Cornish Ranger. Make sure you check out Nerds Through Comics, a podcast where Mark has adapted comic books into audio dramas, and he's also presented his own Power Ranger stories. Then check out some of Cosplay Dude 637's stories as well. You can find them on Power Rangers Universe 19, the podcast, Sailor Moon E, the podcast, The Order, the podcast, The Stories Time, the YouTube channel, and the One Piece audio drama YouTube channel. And then there's this brand new storyline, Tales of the Cornish Institute, a Shadowhunters fanfiction, which is on YouTube. And a huge shout out to some of my supporters. We have the Zero to Hero podcast. Billy and Jim, the hosts, have been supporting me since day one. Then we have Jared, the host of If You Give a Data podcast. Then there's A Crown and his YouTube channel, The Author's Crown, where you'll find more really fascinating stories to be told. Make sure you check out everyone that I mentioned. And of course, keep being creative, let the fiction live on, and I shall see you fiction fighters next time.